So big time story in the NBA over the weekend. Paul George and the Los Angeles Clippers, they edged Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers, who, by the way, the Trailblazers have not lost much in the bubble. They've been hot. Damian Lillard's been hotter. But they did lose to the Los Angeles Clippers. It was a very tight game. It actually came down to Damian Lillard at the free throw line. He had the opportunity to give his Trailblazers the lead late, and he clanked them. Uncharacteristically, he missed both free throws. The Clippers went on to win. And let me tell you the truth of the matter. The Clippers were actually trying to lose the game, as the Clippers, they're looking at the Los Angeles Lakers as their Western Conference Finals foe potentially down the line. And obviously the Portland Trailblazers are hot right now. Maybe the hottest team in the bubble. Them or Phoenix. They look like they could take down the Lakers in the first round. So the Clippers actually were trying to lose the game. They still somehow won the game, and in large part it was because Damian Lillard missed those free throws late, even though he has been absolutely phenomenal in the bubble. So it went left after that. So Patrick Beverley, who wasn't even playing for the Clippers in that basketball game, he did the old signature Damian Lillard wave. Remember the one that Dame gave the OKC Thunder last year in the first round after Dame hit that walk-off shot to send the Thunder home? And from that, we saw Russell Westbrook leave the OKC Thunder, and also Paul George left the OKC Thunder. Both of these guys moved on to different situations. So we saw Patrick Beverley kind of tease Damian Lillard with his signature wave. Damian Lillard did not like that. In his post-game presser, he said, look, I sent Patrick Beverley home before Paul George. I just sent him home last year in the playoffs. They got respect for me. That's why they doing all that ton and stuff. It comes out of respect and admiration for me. It actually continued from Patrick Beverley. It got more personal between Damian Lillard and Paul George afterwards, as Paul George responded to Damian Lillard by saying, and you getting sent home this year, laughing emoji, respect though. And Damian Lillard responded to Paul George. He said, you keep switching teams, you running from the guys, the grind, you boys is chumps. This one got too personal for my liking. This is basketball. These are competitors. I love smack talk, but I saw a couple of family members on each side. Damian Lillard, Paul George, some family members got involved on social media on their Insta stories. I don't like that. That's too much for me. I want to leave it between the guys. If they want to talk some crap, even on the court, off the court, wherever, let's leave that to them. There's no need to get family members involved. Y'all need to stay out of that, all right? Control y'all family members. Keep them out of that. Y'all got a job. Y'all job involves promoting the game of basketball, and sometimes trash talk comes with that. Let's leave family members up out of that. I do want to say this quickly, though, before I get to the update on this story. I don't like what Paul George is doing. I don't like it, right? And Paul George is a phenomenal player. I don't see how you get past 10 to 12 guys in the NBA without naming Paul George's name. But if I had to do a list of the NBA's best, I have to put Damian Lillard ahead of Paul George. Reason being, you kind of saw Damian Lillard allude to it. Yo, we gotta have real conversations as basketball fans. I'm a member of the media. We gotta have real conversations about placement, right? We can't give Paul George the edge over a Kawhi Leonard or over a Damian Lillard or over a Giannis Antetokounmpo or over a LeBron James or over even other guys. I'd even say maybe even a Jason Tatum. It's tough for me to give PG-13 the edge over some of those other guys when you're not the one on your team. If you want me to be real, though Paul George is the second best player on that Clippers team, down the stretch, he probably won't even be the second option. It'll definitely be Kawhi, and it'll probably be Lou. And honest to God, truth, depending on who's got the high hand, I could see Marcus Morris making some big shots late for the Clippers. I've already seen Montrezl Harrell, who just recently returned to the bubble. I could see him being the guy to lead the Clippers in a game or two in the postseason. So there's a possibility on any given night PG-13 won't even be the Clippers' first, second, or third option. We got to have real conversations. Damian Lillard, more times than not, is always the Portland Trailblazers' first option. Like he said, Whether you think it's smart or dumb, he has not switched teams. He has not given up on Portland. As a matter of fact, he's doubled down on his loyalty multiple times, re-upping for new deals as a Portland Trailblazer. You got to give that some type of respect and credence. Again, at what point do you say, yo, Dame, you need to switch teams? It's a dumb decision to stay in Portland? Or do you give it the respect and the credence? Like, yo, this dude duking it out. He ain't switching teams. See, I wasn't mad at PG-13 for leaving Indiana. If you believe the Pacers were never going to put a championship contending team around you, you kept losing to LeBron in the playoffs, you move on from Indiana. You demand a trade. You get traded to OKC. You get to OKC, and though your last season in Oklahoma was an MVP caliber season, you messed them shoulders up late, and you were abysmal against Portland in the first round of the playoffs last year. And Damian Lillard did essentially send you home and move you from OKC to Los Angeles. You told OKC you wanted out. You demanded a trade. And you went to a team not to be the number one option, but like I said, be the second guy, sometimes the third. You know, Lou Williams is the reigning sixth man of the year. So I just look at it like that. Like, we got to have some levels to this. I don't think PG at this point in his career can be talking that ish to Dame like he's the one of his team. Dame's pretty much averaging like 45 in the bubble. And we got PG who's able to take nights off with the Clippers talking noise to Dame. How does that make sense? What? Anywho, the update on this story via Chris Haynes is that, you know, Damian Lillard and Paul George have met. I mean, they're in the bubble. There's nothing else for them to do. They're stuck in Orlando together. They have linked up and apologized to each other. I don't think they're apologizing for talking smack to each other, but like I said, when families get involved, that's too much. This is basketball. Your family needs to stay out of it. I know with social media and all these blog sites, especially with the NBA blog sites, I mean, there are like 1,022 blog sites on Twitter. And if your sister tweets out anything, it's gonna get picked up. If Dame's sister or Paul George's sister or Dame's wife or whomever tweets something out, immediately it's going to get picked up by one of those blog sites. You see 3,000 people retweet stuff and your feelings get hurt. You feel like you got to respond. But it is nice to hear, according to Chris Haynes, does a phenomenal job. He said that, Damian Lillard and Paul George have patched it up behind the scenes, and I'm happy to hear that. This did not need to get that personal. I love, from a competitive standpoint, what this does. If Portland and the Clippers do face off at some point down the line, that's unlikely. The problem that I have is the Clippers, they know what they're doing. They pumping up Damian Lillard, and they don't got to play him anytime soon. No sooner than the Western Conference Finals, y'all got Damian Lillard pumped up, and if his Portland Trailblazers are able to get past their play-in game versus Memphis or versus Phoenix, they taking on my Lakers in the first round. You didn't pump damn Dame up, and this dude high as a campfire. Leave my Lakers out of it. Obviously, the Clippers don't want to do that. If they could get rid of the Lakers and not have to play them to do it, they going to do that. Look, the gloves are off. It is go time. The playoffs are less than a week away, and I'm excited. Damian Lillard's excited. Looks like Paul George is excited as well. Are you? I'm out.